So Vasudeva thought, by handing over my sons to death, I am saving poor Devaki. If I have children and if Kamsa does not die in the meantime, but why should the opposite not happen? The ways of providence are difficult to understand. Imminent death can be warded off, and conversely, death, though prevented, might occur. So here, Vasudeva is thinking, you know, uh, he was thinking to himself that I will do it in this way. I will give my sons to Kamsa, but perhaps even that is not right. With this in mind, Vasudeva says, Sutaha, and so on. If I have no offspring, there is no worry at all. But if I have children, and moreover, if in the meantime Kamsa dies, Kamsa, then there is something like that problem. So nonetheless, now Devaki should live, and if Kamsa dies before my children take birth, there is no worry at all. So here the sense of viparyayo, or maybe when I will hand over a son to Kamsa at the time of birth, that son will at once become mighty to kill Kamsa. So how can somebody may ask, how can your small children possibly kill that arrogant and powerful Kamsa? Then Vasudeva says, the ways of providence, which said the eighth child of this lady will kill you, are difficult to understand. Such is the case. The impending death of Devaki warded off for the time being, due to my promise to hand over my sons to him, so may again come to pass. So here, so Sanatana Goswami says that even the opposite could occur. Means Markandeya, Ajamila, Satyavrat, and others averted their death. Right? All of you know Markandeya Rishi. He was supposed to die at the age of 16, but because he worshipped Lord Shiva, he could conquer death. Then Ajamila also, he almost died and then he got saved. Then this Satyavrat, Satyavrat is all of you know, he's husband of Sati Savitri, like that. Then like that. So some even though some demons, they were not supposed to die, they died. Just like Kusha, Namuchi, Hiranyakashipu, and others. It occurred like that. So so that is why there is a chance that Kamsa also may die. By the time. So this Satyavrat was brought back to life. After Yamaraj granted Satyavrat's wife the boon, on account of her purity, that her husband will be the father of 100 sons of hers. So regarding Namuchi, under his leadership, a great army of asuras invaded Swarga. After some time, Indra promised Namuchi that he would not kill him by means of either a wet thing or a dry thing, whether at night or during the day. So later, Indra slayed Namuchi after smearing sea foam on a weapon. So Indra incurred sin by violating his promise. So Brahma advised him to bathe at Aruna Sangama. So after honoring Brahma's suggestion, Indra was purified of sinful reactions. So then Satyavat Maharaj is also another name of Manu, like that. So So Srila Prabhupada writes in this purport that sometimes devotees have to act duplicitously for saving Krishna and his servants and his service. Prabhupada many times he spoke about Sanatana Goswami's diplomacy. So when he was jailed, he bribed the jailer, saying that you are actually a great man, you are a great sadhu. So you will get, Allah will give you blessings that if you allow another sadhu to practice bhakti, he will get the great blessings and all that. So in that, Prabhupada writes that. Actually, that Muslim jailer, he was a rascal, he was a dishonest person. But Sanatana Goswami was praising him that you are such a sadhu, you know, if like I'm going to Makkah and all that, you should help me and all that. So he did not, listen to him. Then he bribed him. First, he offered 5,000 gold coins, then 10,000 gold coins he offered. Then he took those gold coins, and then he released Sanatana Goswami. So Srila Prabhupada raises this point that somebody can blame Sanatana Goswami that he acted diplomatically. It is not straightforward business, but we should always remember that in Krishna consciousness, nothing is everything is not black and white. So sometimes one should not act diplomatically, one should not act duplicitously for one's selfish reasons. But if it comes to Krishna and his service, sometimes Prabhupada says you have to act duplicitously. So sometimes Prabhupada is writing that Krishna is all powerful. So Vasudeva could think that it is predicted that my eighth son will kill him. So that means Devaki is destined to live. So why should I try? He did not think like that. So it doesn't work out that way also. So one should, when we are doing service, Prabhupada says, we should work as if everything depends on me. But when it comes to result, we should understand that we get the result only by the mercy of Krishna. Mercy of Krishna. So that is why Srila Prabhupada always says that even though Krishna told him in 11th chapter that all these people, they are already dead, but he still did not encourage Arjuna to sit idle. Prabhupada says in one lecture in Kunti's prayers that I will do everything. You sit on the chariot and smoke ganja. No, so Krishna encouraged Arjuna to work hard in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So it is very imperative that one should act for Krishna intelligently and diligently. We should not think everything. I'm leaving it to Krishna. I will sit idly like that. So, but we should draw the line. We should not act duplicitously for our own selfish reasons or to harm others, to harm other Vaishnavas. One should not act duplicitously. Also, for one's selfish interests, one should not act duplicitously. One should be straightforward. In general, Krishna Prabhupada says Vaishnavata means saralata, straightforward. One should be straightforward in one's dealings. Prabhupada says he's a gentleman. Gentleman means no duplicitousness. But when there is a danger to one's life, and there is a Krishna's service is going to be disturbed, so that time Prabhupada says one can act duplicitously. So Vasudeva, uh, of course, Vasudeva had no intention to give his eighth son. Actually, we will know. Um, so, so that is his greatness. Right? We'll discuss later, a little bit later. So, nahi asyaste bhayam saumya yadvai sa sharir vak putran samprayishyesya yataste bhayam uttitham. O best of the sober, you have nothing to fear from your sister Devaki, because of what you have heard from the unseen woman. The cause of death will be her sons. Therefore, I promise that when she gives birth to the sons from whom you fear has arisen, I shall deliver them unto your hands. So Vasudeva is assuring, Kamsa, that you have no danger from Devaki, because she is harmless, but her sons will be harmful to you. So especially the eighth one. So I will give all other sons except the eighth one. That's what Vishnu Chakra says. That is the inner meaning of Vasudeva, and that you do not fear her, rather and you fear her eighth child. So anyway, I will hand over her eight sons. The son you fear of whom you have arisen may be killed, or all eight may be killed. So so here Vasudeva, even though his heart is burning inside, he was smiling outwardly, in order to impress upon Kamsa that he is not disturbed, like that. So so there he said, don't worry, I will hand over all the sons to you, like that. ससुर्वदा निवर्तते कंसास्तद वाक्यसारवित् वसुदेवोपि तं प्रीतः प्रशस्य प्राविशत् गृहम्. Kamsa agreed to the logical arguments of Vasudeva, and having full faith in Vasudeva's words, he refrained from killing his sister. Vasudeva, being pleased with Kamsa, pacified him further, entered entered his own house. Right? So, although Kamsa was a sinful demon, he believed that Vasudeva would never deviate from his word. So, the character of a pure devotee like Vasudeva, even is such that even so great demon as Kamsa firmly believed in his words, as Kamsa firmly believed in his words and was satisfied. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagavati akinchana, sarvair gunais tatra samasate suraha. All good attributes are present in a devotee, so much so that even Kamsa believed in Vasudeva's words without a doubt. So these are the characteristics of a pure devotees. Prabhupada says, a devotee means he's a gentleman. So gentleman means they don't tell any lies. So even the demons, they have full faith in Yudhishthir Maharaj, in the words of Vasudeva. So that is why they are considered very great people. Like in the case of Yudhishthir Maharaj, there is an interesting story that once Vidura went to Dhritarashtra Maharaj after Pandavas are consigned to the Vanvas, for 12 years. So at the time, they were living in Kamyavan. So then what happened? So Vidura went to Dhritarashtra Maharaj. Then he gave a suggestion that because Dhritarashtra Maharaj, he was very, very scared that Duryodhana took up a fight with Pandavas by insulting, their wife, by insulting them in the Sabha. then by asking, by indulging in Maya Dhyutakrid, cheating in gambling, and also asking them to go for 12 years vanvas and 1 year ajnatavas, like that. So Dhritarashtra Maharaj, he was very scared because Arjuna and Bhima, they are very, very powerful. So they were discussing. Then Vidura suggested, no, if you are so afraid that no, your entire dynasty will be annihilated, so why don't you do one thing? Today is the 13th day. You know, so 13th day. So under uh, extra extraordinary circumstances, 13 days are equal to 13 years. So you send some messenger and call them back. You know, Pandavas. You call them back so that and give back their rajya, like that. So when this news has reached the ears of Duryodhan, Duryodhan was very, very angry, and he was especially with his chacha Vidura, that he is misleading his father, like that. So he was very, very disturbed that they would call back Pandavas within 13 days. So like that. Then Shakuni told one very interesting thing. They said, don't worry, don't worry. I have full faith in Yudhishthir Maharaj. He is a very, very truthful person. Even if other brothers, even Vidura tells with Yudhishthir Maharaj to circumvent this condition of vanvas of for 13 years. Yudhishthir Maharaj, he would never go back on his words. He would never go back on his words, like that. So so like that, it happened. So on 13th day, Pandavas, Bhima, Arjuna, then Nakula and Sahadeva, they gave up their Munivesha, and then they started. They wore Kshatriya clothes, and and then they equipped themselves with arms and all that. So Yudhishthir Maharaj was shocked. What happened? Like, why you gave up your Munivesha? What is this? With whom you are going to fight? Then Bhima and Arjuna, they told, my dear brother, this under extraordinary circumstances, 13 days is equal to 13 years. So today 13 days are finished. So let us go and attack Kauravas, and then get back our kingdom. So Yudhishthira Maharaj laughed and said, no, for me 13 years means 13 years. There are no such extraordinary circumstances right now. So if you all of you want to go and acclaim the kingdom, I have no objection, because I have taken a vow. I have given them word that I will do vanvas for 13 years. So I will do it. I will do it. So if all of you want to go, I have no objection. I will not stop you. So like that. So that is a, even Shakuni, Duryodhan and all, they are very disturbed. But Shakuni had full faith in Yudhishthira Maharaj, saying that don't worry, he will never agree to that. So that's what happened when his other four brothers have suggested that we should go and fight. So, this truthfulness is a very great virtue. That is why it is said that what is real yajna? Then Bhishmadev says, Satyam, Satyavrat. Only Satyam. Satyam will. He said, by those who practice Satyam, they will attain moksha. We have read, we have studied in Anusasika Parva, Mahabharata. So in general, the great devotees, the Kshatriyas and Brahmanas, they practice very steadfastly truthfulness. Nowadays, our leaders, they don't have any semblance of truthfulness in them. They simply tell lies. So they cannot be trusted. But previously, the kings are not like that. Yeah? The kings are not like that. They're very, very truthful. So that is one of the qualification of a Kshatriya and a Brahmana. Especially Brahmanas are very truthful, and even Kshatriyas also need to be very truthful, unless there is some danger, like that. So even though Kamsa was a sinful demon, he believed in the words of Vasudeva, Vasudeva, like that. So he desisted from killing his sister. You know, so you the word, Suhrud, one aware of the closeness of sisterhood, since she is the daughter of his paternal uncle. Suhrud means Shobana Hridaya, the she whose heart is resplendent, Devaki. So the gist is perceiving that there was no deceit, since she too is pure hearted. He desisted from killing her. Additionally, by refraining from killing her, it is implied that he is also refrained from killing other good-hearted persons, insofar as there was a possibility that he would kill them at the time of slaying her, or else Kamsa might have killed Devaka and others by engaging in battle with them. So this Tadvakya Sarvavit, you know, there is another, so while considering the inner meaning of Vasudeva's speech, after praising, so you grasp the essence. You have such a merciful nature. Vasudeva eminently entered. So meaning he entered his house while music was played and the songs were performed. So, and this too was just to make Kamsa believe in him. Because of the word api, Kamsa entered his own residence after leaving that place on the road. So the entire drama, he was it was being taken place in front of everybody. Just like Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. In the same way, our Vasudeva also spoke second chapter Bhagavad Gita and all knowledge to Kamsa on the chariot in front of everybody. So this is a context. That's why the context of Bhagavad Gita is very very wonderful. Each year thereafter, in due course of time, Devaki, the mother of God and all the demigods, gave birth to a child. Thus, she bore 8 sons, one after another, and a daughter named Subhadra. So Prabhupada says the spiritual master is sometimes glorified as Sarva Deva Mayo Guru. So by the grace of Guru, the spiritual master, one can understand the different kinds of devas. So the word Deva refers to God, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original source of all the demigods, who are also called Devas. So Lord Krishna says, Name Viduhu Suragana Prabhavam na Maharsheha Aham Adirhi Devanam Maharshinam cha Sarvashaha. This is a very important verse, 10th chapter, second verse. So Krishna says, I am the source of all devas. So the Supreme Lord Vishnu, the original person, expands in different forms, right? So this mother Devaki is also described here as Ata Kala Upavritte Devaki Sarvadevata Putran Prasusve Chastosu Kanyam Chaiva Vatsaran. So when the time came, for procreation, Sarva Devata means she whose deity is Sarva, the soul of everything, the Lord. So in like manner, another explanation is Sarva Devata Mai, She comprises all the gods, since she is the Lord's support, Ashraya. So in this regard, Vishwanath Chakravarti says that she who should be worshipped on account of being the Lord's mother by everyone, even by the devas, by demigods. So the daughter is Subhadra, the Yogamaya Devi. She is taken birth as Subhadra. Uh, Year after year, year after year, they have given birth to, one child each, like that. So 6 years, 6 children were born, and then seventh child, I think after 6 or 7 months, the child was transferred to Rohini's womb. Then after that, Krishna um, entered. So it is very important to understand that many people, they have this doubt that when Devaki and Vasudeva, they were in jail, and Rohini was in um, Gokul along with living with Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. So how she became pregnant? People did not object. Uh, so there are details given in Gopal Champu and other literatures that Vasudeva and Devaki, they were not jailed. They were in house arrest. So he was meeting other wives also. Other wives also. So sometimes Rohini is also meeting him in the jail cell. So that's how she also conceived, like that. So when there was a danger, um, she was when she was shifted to Gokul. So at that time she was pregnant. you know so at the time she was pregnant. So that is why many people, they have this doubt, how it is possible, but this is explained in other literatures, like that. It is said in Vishnu Purana that upon seeing the faces of his sons, as if they were as a great festival, Vasudeva forgot his old age and became like a youth. This is from Vishnu Purana, like that. In Harivamsha also, Purana also, it is mentioned that Sri Harivamsha Purana, it is Vruddhav Tavadya Pitarau. So now your parents are old. So, and with the verses of Sri Vishnu Purana, such as like that. So it is that is why. So they were born in when Vasudeva and Devaki, they were old. Krishna was born, like that. Last year, Devkin Prabhu and all, they were discussing that this Kirtiman and all. Many people, they have this question: when if he was taken, to Kamsa, how when this Namkaran ceremony and all happened, like that. So some discussion happened last year during Bhagavad Katha, that he's saying that when they were killed, they were not children, means small, So they were because Kamsa did not kill them immediately. So they were actually 3 or 4 years old, when they were killed. So because after that, he like you will see, Kamsa said, I don't have threat from these boys, so you take them. So that is why he did not kill them. So later on, Narada Muni came and provoked him that anybody could be a child. So so like that. So that is why Sanatana Goswami says that Kirtimantam Pratamajam Kamshaya Anakadundubi, Arpayan Asha Kruchrena So Antarad Ati Vihalaha. Vasudeva was very much disturbed by fear of becoming a liar by breaking his promise. Thus, with great pain, he delivered his firstborn son, named Kirtiman, to the hands of into the hands of Kamsa. So Prabhupada says in the Vedic system, as soon as a child is born, especially a male child, the father calls for learned brahmanas, and according to the description of the child's horoscope, the child is immediately given a name. So this this ceremony is called Namakarana. So there are 10 different, all of 10 different samskaras or reformatory methods adopted in the system of Varnashram Dharma, and the name giving ceremony is one of them. So although Vasudeva's first son was to be delivered into the hands of Kamsa, the Namakarana ceremony was performed, and thus the child was named Kirtiman. Such names were given immediately after birth. That's what Srila Prabhupada says, like that. So, Sanatana Goswami says that Kirtiman had two names in a previous birth, Kirtiman and Smara, or else his name was ascribed by an astrologer in accordance with the custom of the region, right at the moment of his birth. Moreover, so he was utterly afraid to break his promise. So, so the verse I'm going to read is a very, very important, nice verse. It is said, Kim dussaham nu sadhunam vidusham kim apekshitam kim akaryam kadaryanam dushchajam kim dhrutatmanam. So what is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth? How could there not be independence for pure devotees who know the Supreme Lord as a substance? What deeds are forbidden for persons of the lowest character? And what cannot be given up for the sake of Lord Krishna by those who have fully surrendered at his lotus feet? So since the eighth son of Devaki was to kill Kamsa, one might ask what need was there for Vasudeva to deliver the firstborn child. So the answer is that Vasudeva had promised Kamsa that he would deliver all the children born of Devaki. Kamsa, being an Asura, did not believe that eighth child would kill him. He took it for granted that he might be killed by any of the children of Devaki. So Vasudeva, therefore, to save Devaki, promised to give Kamsa every child, um, whether male or female. So, from another point of view, Vasudeva and Devaki were very pleased, when they understood that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna would come as their eighth son. So Vasudeva, a pure devotee of the Lord, was eager to see Krishna, you know, appear as his child from the eighth pregnancy of Devaki. Therefore, he wanted to deliver all the children quickly, so that eighth turn would come and Krishna would appear. So so that is why he begot one child every year, so that Krishna's turn to appear would come as soon as possible. So this verse says that what is painful for a saintly persons who strictly adhere to the so in this regard, Vishwanath Thakur raises this thing that Vasudeva surely should fear unrighteousness, more so than before. But how can he tolerate seeing the murder of his son right before his eyes? In that regard, he says, Kim dussaham no sadhunam. What is difficult for saintly persons to tolerate? Right? So, these are the two hallmark qualities of a Vaishnava, tolerance and humility. So, without these two qualities, nobody can become a true Vaishnava. So for if we become angry for small things, we will never become devotees. One must tolerate others' insults, the troubles given by Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, Adhyatmika. One must tolerate because we are helpless. We can't do anything about it. So better to tolerate smilingly, like that. So So here, kim dussaham nu sadhunam. So somebody may ask, how can Vasudeva see the murder of his own children? Then Sukadeva Goswami is raising this point that what is mm, you know, what is painful for saintly persons who strictly adhere to the truth. So he ought to hand over with greater attention one particular son, the eighth one, to save the life of his wife Devaki. But how can he fulfill his promise of handing over all his sons without Kamsa's ordering him? So, a householder's neglect of even one son is improper. So, in this regard, it is said, Vidusham kim apekshitam. What do the learned require? So, the drift is Vasudeva is certainly not ignorant like Karmis. So, what is the use of a son to him? An ocean of devotion, knowledge, and detachment, right? So, well, if he is like that, how could Kamsa kill Vasudeva's son, who was brought by Vasudeva killed? So, would Vasudeva's heart not melt in the case too? So, in response is Kim Akaryanam Kadaryanam. So, what cannot be done by crooked people, Rakshasas, like that. So one who is adharmic, they will do anything to fulfill their selfish interests. We have seen, we see all this happening. All these politicians, film actors, doing all kinds of abominable activities. So, so why does Vasudeva not renounce Grahastha to avoid all these faults? Therefore, he says, Dushtyajam kim dhrutatmanam. Those who cannot, those who can control their minds, what is difficult to renounce? So, although Vasudeva is able to renounce Grahastha, he remains a householder only because he harbors an ardent desire that when shall I see Krishna's face? He will become my only son. Thus, Dhrutatmana means Dhrutaha Atma Harihi Putra Rupiyeka Tesham. So they by whom the soul Hari is beheld in the form of a son. So Vasudeva did not show affection even towards his other sons only with the for that reason that he just wants to beheld Krishna's beautiful face like that. So every year each son was contemplated upon only with the this longing, that the time for eighth child to appear should come quickly. The truth in this matter should be carefully considered. Vasudeva accepted the sin of consenting to the murder of children. So Sukadeva Goswami is raising this point. Why? Because Parikshit Maharaj could raise this question: how can Vasudeva be so cruel that how can he tolerate his other son's murder? They said, no, the pure devotees, they are ready to give up anything to have Krishna as their son. So they are he did not develop any affection for these sons because by handing them over one by one, that he wanted that time for eighth child to appear very quickly. So seeing when Kamsa saw that Vasudeva, being situated in truthfulness, was completely equipoised in giving him the child, he was very happy. Therefore, with a smiling face, he spoke as follows. So this word samatvam is very significant in this verse. Samatvam refers to one who is equipoised. Sukha dukkhe same krutva labha labha jaya jayo. Right? Samadama tapasyaucham kshantirarjamevacha. So sama means control of the mind. Dama means control of the senses. Right? So all our problems in this world is because of uncontrolled mind. And so if the mind is controlled and is equipoised, jitatmana, so it is said that one who is control his mind, uddared atmanatmanam atmanam avashadayet atmaiva atmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanaha, bandhuratmanastasya enatmana anatmana, so become, you elevate yourself, uddared atmanatmanam, by controlling the mind. Then don't degrade yourself by uncontrolled mind. So, jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitah, right? Sitoshna sukha dukkeshu tatha manapamanayo. Sixth chapter Krishna is saying jitatmana prashantasya paramatma samahitah. So here Atma is mind. Somebody who has conquered mind, Krishna is saying he achieved paramatma samahitah. He has achieved paramatma. Then sitoshna sukha dukkeshu, you know. Tata mana apamanayo. Then heat and cold, sitoshna, sukha dukha, happiness and distress, and then honor and dishonor, they are all equal to him, such a person. So Vasudeva was so steadily equipoised that he did not seem in the least agitated when delivering his firstborn child, onto the hands of Kamsa to be killed. That is why Krishna says, Dukkeshu anudvignamana sukeshu vigataha spruha. So in the material world, one should not be very eager to be happy, nor should one be very much disturbed by material distress. That is why, that is why Lord Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Matra sparshastu konteya sitoshna sukadukkada agama paino anityas tam titikshasva bharata. Previously, I told once Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Krishna that do you have any mantra, simply by chanting which all the troubles can be forgotten. So Krishna took a piece of paper and wrote it and said, you read this after I go, like that. So Yudhishthira Maharaj was very curious what mantra Krishna has given him. Then Krishna has written, always remember that it is not going to be there all the time. So even if so many troubles come in our life, we should always remember that the troubles are not going to be there all the time. Then also, if we are happy, we should always remember that this happiness also is not going to be there all the time. So Krishna says, if you have this formula, then we will be equipoised all the time. So Sanatana Goswami says equanimity means here, being equal towards enemies and friends. So in the matter of offering a son, means putra sneha tyagam, giving up affection for his son, and a complete steadfastness, eva vyavastitam, right? So in honest speech, and in fortitude, Kamsa eminently smiling, only because his mind was satisfied, spoke as follows. Pratyatu kumaroyam nahi asmad asti me bhayam ashtamad yuvayor garban mrityur me vihitaha kila. O Vasudeva, you may take back your child to go home and go home. I have no fear of your first child, It is the eighth child of you and Devaki I am concerned with, because that is the child by whom I am destined to be killed. So Vasudeva agreed and took his child back home. But because Kamsa had no character and self control, Vasudeva knew that he could not rely on Kamsa's word. Once the great saint Kamsa, Narada, approached Kamsa and informed of how the demonic persons who were a great burden on earth were going to be killed. Thus, Kamsa was placed into great fear and doubt. So it has already been discussed that Mother Earth implored Lord Brahma. Narada Muni informed Kamsa that there was a meeting of all demigods in the in Brahmaji's house, in Brahmaji's assembly, and I am privy to this information that there was a plan to kill all of you, and then Vishnu only is going to come as the son of Devaki and Vasudev, like that. So then Narada, actually Kamsa was very poor in his mathematics. He did some logic, saying that any son could be eighth child. Some logic he gave, and then Kamsa, being poor in mathematics, he believed. So that is why after Narad Muni came, after Narad Muni came, so then Kamsa's mind has changed, right? So mind has changed. So that is why. So Prabhupada writes that in Harivamsh Purana, it is described that Narad Muni went to see Kamsa by providence, and Kamsa received him very well. So Narada therefore informed him that any one of the sons of Devaki might be Vishnu. Because Vishnu was to kill him, Kamsa would not spare any of Devaki's children. So Narad Muni advised Narada's, like that. So Narada's intention was that, Kamsa, by killing the children, would increase his sinful activities, so that Krishna would soon appear to kill him. That is why you say, Paap ka gada bhar jana, right? So Narad Muni wanted that Kamsa's Paap ka gada jaldi bhar jaye by killing innocent children, like that. So would increase his sinful activity, so that Krishna would come and kill him immediately. So upon receiving the instructions of Narada Muni, Kamsa killed all the children of Devaki one after another. So kings, greedy for sense gratification on this earth, almost always kill their enemies indiscriminately. To satisfy their own whims, they may kill anyone, even their mothers, fathers, brothers, or friends. So Srila Prabhupada writes, we have seen in India that Aurangzeb killed his brother and nephews and imprisoned his father to fulfill political ambitions. There have been many similar instances, and Kamsa was the same type of king. Kamsa did not hesitate to kill his nephew and imprison his sister and his father. So, for demons to do such things is not astonishing. So, nonetheless, although Kamsa was a demon, he was aware that Lord Vishnu cannot be killed, and thus he attained salvation. So even partial understanding of the activities of the Lord Vishnu makes one eligible for salvation. So Kamsa knew a little bit about Krishna, that he could not be killed, and therefore he attained salvation. Although he thought of Vishnu as one of the enemy, right? So what then is said to be of one who knows Krishna perfectly from the descriptions of the Shastras like Bhagavad Gita. So it is therefore the duty of everyone to read Bhagavad Gita and understand Krishna perfectly. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam etiso Arjuna. So in his previous work, Kamsa had been a great demon named Kalanemi and been killed by Vishnu. Upon learning this information from Narada, Kamsa became envious of everyone connected with the Yadu dynasty. Kamsa, the most powerful son of Ugrasena, even imprisoned his own father, the king of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andaka dynasties, and personally ruled the states known as Surasena. Okay, thank you very much. So we are finished this chapter. Tomorrow we will jump over and hear about Krishna's birth, so that you will have on Janmashtami day it is mentioned that one should read Krishna's birth, pastime of Krishna taking birth from 10th canto Bhagavatam. So tomorrow a little bit I will explain. Then hopefully we can have class on Janmashtami also, so we can hear the Krishna taking birth on Janmashtami day. It is very auspicious. Anybody has any questions?